It's gonna be a good one.
It's gonna be a good one.
Definitely a different type of process.
Cut down or freeze up.
Being a coach's son.
Jackson, of course, they keep retooling. One stolen base, a hit by pitch. Oh my goodness. Hello everyone, welcome inside the Red Earth Production Studios for this edition of YBMcast, Missouri Baseball Talk. Powered by Game 7 Baseball, Game7Baseball.com. Memorial Weekend, we're taking a break, but we got a big one coming up. The Super 7 Invitational, hosted by us, YBM, with our fantastic partners, Dave and Dave over at Game 7 Baseball. We'll be out at the WAC. 28. Count them. I'd have to take my shoes off, and then I'd run out of fingers and toes. 28. 14U baseball teams going to be headed out to the WAC in 2 weekends. We've got some great baseball Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We're going to be out there covering it all. We're going to talk to some players. We're going to see, man, 28 teams. You got to duke it out to get to the big-time championship right there. I love this stuff. It's an open tournament. I don't care what the heck you are as far as A, double A, triple A major. Don't matter. You got to bring it. Bring it to the field. That's where it matters. So we're looking forward to that. I want to welcome in today. Kevin Mulder is on assignment. I'm kidding. He's doing his job. I always like that. But I asked Mitchy the Kid from the Hitting Zone to jump in here as we talk about Class 6 playoffs here on the Prime Sports Midwest call-in link. Mitch, how you doing, buddy?
Doing well. Is that blinds behind you? Do I need to shut those? Behind me.
Oh, no, we're fine. I was
Okay.
like, I don't have blinds behind me.
No, you got a green screen. I don't have a green screen. I ain't got those kind of dollars.
No, man, that's real set. That's real studio, bro.
Oh, yeah. I forgot. I was just in that studio yesterday.
Oh, mercy. Today we're going to look at Class 6 and Class 5. We're going to come back to a couple things. We got some other things setting up. I'm hoping to get out to the Deshan St. Charles West Championship game today. That'd be a dandy. Dandy, don't miss it. I believe that's a 5:30 start. But we're going to see who's going to make it to the field of 8. We're going to give you our predictions and a chance to move on to the MSHSAA State Championship top 4. We have 8 districts, and each of these districts has 8 teams. So that's a field of 64. There you go. The thing that's interesting here, folks, is when we talk about Class 6, we've got multiple top 20 teams in a few of these districts that one of the top teams in the state, maybe 2, 3, 4. There's only 4 teams get to go. So 4 out of the top 20 are there, and maybe one that isn't even ranked. We'll see. We got some sleepers here, I think, Mitch. So let's get started. We're ready to cover the playoffs from start to finish, ending up in Springfield, Missouri, covering the state championships at the Ozark Mountain Sports Complex in Springfield. So here we go. First up, District 1. District 1 in Class 6 is brutal. There's only one team that isn't above 500. Only one. You got Lindbergh facing off against Northwest. All this starts today. Jackson taking on Fox. Kirkwood taking on Melville. And Oakville and Seckman. Okay. First of all, who do you got going? Who do you think's going to make it to the championship game of this district? And then who do you think who's going to win it?
If I think the 1 and 2 seeds are going to take care of business, which that's Lindbergh and Kirkwood. Um, I think the semifinal match for Kirkwood for district play is going to be an interesting one. And what team shows up for Seckman? They have Oakville this first round, and that's a dandy, in my opinion, because Seckman's offense is going into this season was supposed to be pretty good. And if they can just rattle some hits together, it's going to be interesting. I think Lindbergh is poised to take this district and move on. I think the biggest challenge is going to be that Jackson game for them. Obviously, with 1 versus 8, I'm not taking anything away from Northwest, but Jackson can play. They're well coached. Kirkwood, I slept on. I didn't think that they were that group until I started paying attention because of Dave Wiggins and Webster Groves and kind of that matchup. And I looked and I was like, wow, they actually are a really good baseball team and play really well. So I have Lindbergh coming out of that. I think it's going to be the 1 and 2 seeds in the district championship. But a game that I'm interested in is that 3-6 matchup between Oakville and Seckman.
I'll tell you what, though, with Kirkwood, that to me, I believe Kirkwood is the favorite coming out of that bottom side of that bracket. But my goodness, Melville is no pushover, not a bit. Melville's had some good wins on the season. They're 18-7. They've got over the last, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They're 9-1 in their last 10. Their only loss was to Fox. Did they play a particularly tough schedule? No. They scrappy. They've got guys. They got some pitching. It's not going to be, I don't see it being just an easy way out. And this is the tough thing I think it is for Kirkwood. Either way, then you're going to get Oakville or Seckman behind that. And either one of those teams can beat you, as you said. I don't know. I haven't talked to Coach Hagedorn. We're going to see today if Bradford is back from that hand injury. He's been out most of the season. It's been tough, and I think that's a huge loss in the middle of that lineup. So I think that's where it's been, and they really just haven't found their pitching with Seckman. So they got some young guys. I think maybe, we'll see. But Kirkwood is, I think, and I agree, Jackson is a tough out either way you slice it. But I do see Lindbergh there myself. I think that's a good choice, Mitch.
I think that's the easy choice, right? Like at the end of the day with Lindbergh, they just played a schedule that is poised to go through this district play. Like that's why I don't have much in Melville. I looked at their roster. Anybody or in their season, anybody that they played, they've lost. That's competitive. That's a competitive team. Kirkwood's got a couple dudes with 5 bombs. They can swing it. Mm-hmm. They can swing their way to the championship if they can't pitch their way to it. I think Lindbergh is the most complete team in that grouping.
Because you get the right guy on the mound for Oakville, and you can get beat. They're one of those teams, they've been up and down, but they've got the arms in Werkowitz, in Kilburn, in Lake. They have dudes. Zanley over there. They got 4 dudes. I mean, dudes. So pitching is not a problem for Oakville. It just, can they score enough runs? What are you going to get? And Kirkwood, as you said, they can hit. And so I think Oakville is the sleeper there on that side. We'll just have to wait and see.
I just want to throw this out there because I think this is super impressive. Jacob Nolan, who's one of the big hitters for Kirkwood, hit 4 bombs in one game against Parkway Central.
Yes, he did. With
a double and 13 ribbies. Now, one game, when I looked at those numbers and 5 dingers, I was like, let me see where he hit those at. And then I saw that and I was like, well, have a day, young man.
That's a Shohei Ohtani day, man.
Wow.
District 2 lines up with Eureka being the number 1, Parkway South as number 2. I was a little surprised at that, but maybe I shouldn't have been. And then Parkway South proceeded to go 0-4 in their last, or 1-4 in their last 5 games. So, I mean, it was kind of like, wow. But they lost in Washington. You know, we saw the Blue Jays against Fort Zumwalt East. Washington ended the season 10-19, and I think when we saw them, they had like 1 or 2 wins. So they played a lot better down the stretch. So, and they beat some good teams. The Blue Jays did. Coach Goff's squad down there. So they lost to them, but then they dropped a doubleheader to Howell, and they lost to Lafayette. When you're talking about winning a district championship, I mean, I'd like to have seen them, win one of those games, especially if you're playing Lafayette. Maybe they threw off. Maybe they just didn't, thought it was okay. We're just getting swings. I don't know. Sometimes that happens. But they end up with the 2 seed, and you got Eureka. They probably will run rule Waynesville. No offense to the Waynesville folks. Marquette at Lebanon in the 4-5, Parkway South. And not to mention, in the 7 seed, you get St. Francis Borgia. Thank you very little.
That's a tough 7 seed, especially with what you think that was how they were gonna play going into the season.
That's what I mean. It is. Are they maybe as talented as they were last year? No, but they still have guys, and they're still that championship pedigree. Coach Struckoff is a championship type coach, and so, wow. And if you do get past Borgia, then you got to deal with Lafayette, who's played very well down the stretch, or a Rolla team that can beat you. And 14-13 on the season, they've had some decent wins, and they won. What was that? 6 out of their last 8. So it's not. I've when looking at the brackets, Mitch, that number 1 seed is huge. Marquette, Lebanon. Marquette's a tough out. Lebanon can beat them. I don't see it happen. I do see Marquette moving on, but man, that 2 seed right there, Parkway South, they put themselves in a tough situation. And I think either Borgia, Lafayette, and Lafayette just beat them the last game of the season. So there you go.
This bracket's interesting to me. I actually think this one's a little bit tougher to determine who might come out of this, just because Eureka's had some ups and downs in their season. And again, what your schedule is. I understand you only play what your schedule allows, but Lafayette, I think, probably is more suited in that 2 seed. But for Eureka, I think they can throw off against Waynesville. So I think Marquette's going to make it to that semifinal game. They'll probably get Eureka's ace, to get them into that district championship game. And I think it's going to be Eureka and Lafayette in the finals. And I'm going to flip a coin, and it's both heads. So
yeah,
I have no idea what's going to happen. Lafayette has the history. Eureka's probably the better team at the moment, but that should be a good final between Eureka and Lafayette.
Well, the pitching stacks in the favor right now, I believe, of Eureka. They got 15 innings plus. There's nobody over a 3 ERA.
Yeah,
and that's like 6 dudes, man. And that's really tough. But what it comes down to, though, in my opinion, because look at this, Ben Lackey, Habercorn, Seibels, Joggers, Gustafson, Giannino. None of them are above a 3 ERA, Mitch.
Yeah, I think what I like is that they've got guys that that are in that 30 innings, and they've got 4 or 5 guys like that. So they've obviously played a big schedule,
Yeah.
but they don't have guys throwing 38 plus, and could that game, because they have such a deep pitching roster, is that going to be beneficial for the playoff run?
Right. And it's just going to come down to their offense. Sweeney, Ringy, Reg have been good all year. I know they got Ludhauser back, but can he get back to where he was before that hand injury? It'll be interesting to see. I think they need him in the middle of that lineup to really push that over the top. So we'll see what happens. But I agree, Eureka Lafayette. I think that's where it's heading to. I think Parkway South is going to be. I think Parkway South actually is going to be facing Eureka. I do. I think in the end they'll figure it out. It's my thought. District 3, big one. Not really. This is my sleeper here, bro.
Send it.
Start at the bottom here. CBC, I don't think Hazelwood West should not beat Hal North. Right?
I don't think so. They got a couple nice kids on that team, a couple senior leaders. I just don't think they have enough. I'm assuming Hal North's going to throw off, and maybe a Landon Stewart, which has done a good job, or Logan Mole, who's a senior there. Those both are guys that can get it done. Stewart pitched a big game not too long ago. Took the L against one of the top teams, but pitched well in that game. I think it was like a 2-0 or 3-1 ball game, something close. So he's got a little experience pitching against a big profile team, so that should help him. Hal North, with Stover being down, I think that's going to be a problem in that second round if they are able to get to the semifinals. I think CBC should take care of Central. That obviously that matchup is going to be interesting because I think that's going to be a 2-3 matchup at the semifinals, and CBC is probably going to get Howard, I would assume, because you have to obviously get to the next step. So that's your best arm right now. So that's going to be an interesting challenge for CBC, and they have been hitting the baseball lately pretty good.
Yeah, I do see CBC heading to the championship game in this district. Up top, you got SLU, your boys from Rittner. Sorry, bro.
Hey, they got the R's cool. The orange and black still rocks, baby.
You gotta love it. DeSmet, Pattonville. Can they beat me, Mason Lee?
DeSmet's been playing some pretty good baseball lately. I am gonna root. I got friends on both, but I've known Mason and his dad for I share the same birthday with Mark, which is Mason's dad. So it's going to be one of those things that I'm going to root for Mason to take that ball game. I think DeSmet's got more tools. They got 2 guys that are more than happy to hit against Mason in his velo and pitch arsenal. I think that's a tough game for DeSmet because of Mason. Does Pattonville have enough offense to compete with DeSmet's pitching? So I think it's going to be SLU and DeSmet in that semifinal, but I'm rooting for Pattonville to upset them.
Who do you think's going to come out of that district, bud?
SLU.
Okay, I'll come back to that.
I got my guy in Chambers, and
I know.
He ran his team to state in soccer and won it as a keeper. I think he's going to be the guy that closes this out for SLU.
All right, I like that. I like that pick. District 4, home of the GAC South.
Dude,
right?
I feel so bad. Look it. We start today.
Yeah, baby. Hey, listen.
The last year I coached there.
that top of that bracket is brutal. Oh my gosh. Francis Howell, Zumwalt North, Timberland, Francis Howell Central. Zumwalt West, no offense to Troy Buchanan or Liberty, but that's the number 1 seed down there in the bottom half of the bracket.
Man, I take this, Drew, and make a short of this to tell everybody you have got to go watch. It's at Francis Howell Central. It's in Cottleville. Did I say that? Yeah, Francis Howell Central.
Mm-hmm.
And what an amazing day of baseball. And there's going to be scouts there. And if you're an 8th grader or a freshman and sophomore and you want to play varsity baseball, this is what you go watch. I will sell out that there's probably 3 teams in here that could easily win state, in my opinion. Because I think North Point is very underrated.
Yep.
But my gosh, in North, the Zumwalt North, you got Skidmore versus Loman. That has to happen today. Timberland versus Central, you got Richie Swain. I think Timberland comes out of this. West, I think that's an easy one. North Point, I think that's easy. The top 2, the top 4, the 11:30 game, which is in 30 minutes. Man, are you kidding me? I wouldn't want to be Hal right now. That's a potential state winner, and you got one of the best arms in the state.
Yeah.
And he could pitch.
I just couldn't believe it when I saw that. I was like, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Like,
that should be flipped. I just don't. I couldn't believe that when I saw that.
You think West should have been the 1 seed?
No. I just think Liberty should have been the 8th seed. Personally, Liberty is the 8th seed in this district. I think Troy Buchanan is the 7, and I think Zumwalt North was the 6. That's just my opinion. Honestly,
I could see that.
Yeah. I think that's where it should have been. Zumwalt North should have been playing North Point. Liberty should have been up there with Francis Howell, and you had Troy Buchanan with the 7 seed with Zumwalt West. I think that's the way that's my thoughts on it. Evidently, that's how this goes. The way it came out. So there you go.
No, and I know probably when they went to voting, a lot of this had to do with trying to stick it to the other team. I'm just saying that's how this stuff works. Yeah, I think everything else to this point has been pretty standard. It's perfect. This one, these teams are probably trying to stick it to each other.
So it's wide open. I still believe Hal has the deepest pitching, the favorite to come out of this. That's what I think. So
go Wolves,
woo baby, Wolves. You hang with your team, bro. You got to do that.
Man, I just love that group. It's a big senior group, and of course, Coach there. I'm always going to.
Absolutely. District 5, Rockbridge, the number 1 seed, Blue Springs South, the number 2 seed. I'll be honest, other than maybe Grain Valley at the bottom of this, Smith Cotton, can they win a game? Yeah, I think Hickman might beat Smith Cotton, though. I think we're going to see Rockbridge and Blue Springs South in the championship game. I think Rockbridge actually is going to move through. I think these kids, it's Justin Tao's last season. I think they're on a mission. You know, sometimes that works and whatnot, but and they're good. You know, they're just good. And Justin Tao's a great coach. I think they're on a mission. I think Rockbridge rolls through this and gets to the field of 8. That's what I think.
District 6. Here we go, District 6, because I'm on board.
Dun, 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 dun. Here's another one, though, that was head-scratching. How did Kickapoo get the 1 seed?
I saw that and I was like,
Come on.
whatever.
Come
It could,
on.
there's some politics I'm sure that happen in some of these uh, groupings, and whatever.
Okay, Kickapoo's 18 and 16. On May, let's see, May 12th. Okay, May 12th, that was like 10 days ago, right? Something like that. 11 days ago. Kickapoo beat Nixa 5-2 in 9 innings. All right, fine, you got one. 18 and 16. They'd lost in Rockbridge 3-2 and 10 a couple days before, lost to CBC. They lost to Lebanon. They lost to Howell. They've lost to Liberty twice. I mean, lost to
They got
Willard.
this one wrong.
They did. This is wrong. Nix is clearly the number 1 seed in this district. No offense. I haven't seen Kickapoo, but they're just not. Nixa should have been up there at the top. Instead, they're down there again. Here's one of those. That was political. I don't care. You got Nixa having to deal with Republic, which is having a down year, but they're still dangerous. Then Ozark or Glendale at the bottom there. That blew me away. I was just, nah.
Yeah, no.
And honestly, I still have Nixa coming out of this, and I'm not so sure Neosho doesn't end up in the championship game beating Kickapoo. I'm not so sure Branson won't beat him.
That's the thing. I will say this much, that Neosho did lose to Kickapoo big. But at the end of the day, like this is a team that's 21 and 9.
Mm-hmm.
Has some good wins on here, has some losses I think that they should have, but at the end of the day, they beat Willard. They beat Branson, so that Neosho's got some good wins, and so who's going to show up? I think that's what you think. We always say that, who's going to show up, but I think Nix is going to come out of that. I believe in Nixa.
How
that
about
Ozark matchup? I think Ozark's going to come out of this and win beat Glendale, and I think that 2-3 matchup could be fun.
Oh yeah.
I'm interested to see what that Branson Kickapoo game does. I think Neosho takes the top bracket, Nix is the bottom, and Nixa wins it and moves on.
Dude, Wyatt Vincent hitting .411 on the season, a .493 OBP, .729 slug. He's got 14 doubles, a triple, 6 home runs, 30 RBIs, 42 runs scored, 20 base on balls, and only 6 Ks. 6 Ks in 107 at-bats.
That's impressive.
He's the young man, center fielder going to Missouri State. We had him on. We did a player spotlight in the offseason before the season. I really like this kid. Heads on right. I think that Caden Cloud also, he's got 7 home runs, 13 doubles, 38 ribbies, 31 runs scored, 19 base on balls. Those two are the catalysts. It'll be interesting to see how that works. Jackson Gamble on the mound. I still think I like Nixa here in this bracket. Now, I don't know. Do you have to go, bud? Because I know we talked.
I do, but I'm gonna try to give you the next 5 minutes. I'll just go into a little late into my training call.
All right. We got District 7. Lee Summit, the number 1 team there. Lee Summit, the Tigers. Lee Summit West, who I think had a very disappointing season with the talent, but I can't help it, because we're not over there as much. But when I got a chance to talk with Coach Meyer when we went over there and did the game with Blue Springs, Coach Meyer, he said, when he talked about it, all the kids that he had playing in positions were young. He has seniors, but most of the kids he had playing in that were juniors, sophomores. He had a lot of young guys. He goes, "We're young." He says, "I know that sound," and I think their record reflected that. I think some of the losses and whatnot, and they're still the number 2 seed here in the seventh district.
Yeah, they have losses against some big group, like out of town, out of state teams, and they have a challenging record or a challenging schedule here.
Oh yeah,
And the games have been relatively close.
yeah,
Losing to Staley 2-1, um, losing to Kansas schools. I think they'll be poised to, because of that schedule, they could probably take a deep breath and go, "We got this."
yeah.
They play Rockhurst, which I think they're 3-0 against this year, or 2-0 against Rockhurst. But they've both been one run wins, so that's going to be interesting. I will say this much: I think a Lee Summit school will win.
I like that.
Just not sure which one.
Truman,
That Raymore Peculiar school, that team, I think can challenge West.
yeah.
I think that's going to be a solid game, but Lee Summit's probably going to come out of that grouping.
Ray Peck beat Lee Summit West on May 12th, 4-3. They've beaten Park Hill. They lost to Staley 10-0 in their last game of the season. I think Ray Peck can do some things. Truman can give Lee Summit some trouble up there. Truman's coming off a really good season at 22-11. That's a very good 4 seed, in my opinion. I don't know why Truman is the 4 seed and Ray Peck is the 3 seed personally. Not quite sure of that, but what do I know about seeding?
Yeah, they're on a heater too. I think they've won 9 of their
that's
last
10.
9. They're 9-0, 10-0.
They won 9 straight. Beat Grain Valley. William Christman beat Platte County, which is no easy feat. Beat Belton, beat Fort Osage. Some of those are, teams that aren't quite. But you got Platte County win in there and a Grain Valley win. There you go. So I just think that's a little interesting. I got the Tigers of Lee Summit coming out of this, winning the championship here. I think they're a solid team. They got guys pitching, defense. They got hitting. I think Lee Summit, the Tigers are poised to come out of that bracket 25-11 on the season. They did lose to, like I said, Lee Summit West on the 14th in a 6-1. So Lee Summit West has a win recently against them. They dropped their last 2, but they'd won 6 before that. So they were 6-2 in their last 8. I got the Tigers. District 8, going to be interesting here. Staley, number 1 seed. Liberty Blue Jays, Kirk Bragg squad at the 2 seed. Liberty North at the 3 seed is going to be a tough out for Liberty, the Blue Jays. I think the Blue Jays get to the championship game, but I wouldn't count out the Eagles of Liberty North.
Yeah, I think Staley's my pick. I was looking up some of Staley's stuff. They got some good wins. They did lose big to Howell early on in the year, but they've got a nice win over Willard. So I am picking Staley to come out of this district. I wouldn't be shocked if that, with a 2-3 seed coming from the bottom can threaten Staley, but I think Staley's just got enough history to go out and, I mean, they're 32-3. So there's a reason why they're 32-3. They can win. They can close out ball games. They have great wins, real close ball games. And I think it just sets them up for the experience of getting through the playoffs.
Yeah, first-year coach there, taking over for Coach Wilson. DeAndre Josenberger has done a great job. 3 losses on the season. This team is playing. They got the pitching led by Earl Beck going to Iowa. Easton Felipe, I love the senior leadership he has behind the plate there. That team is ready to go. I think that's This definitely could, as a Final Four team, in my opinion. Park Hill, South Park Hill, they can win a game. Can't count them out. I think they're going to beat each other up, though, because they're going to have to do that to get a win. And so, you may end up with your number one there. And then tomorrow, you got to face Staley. Well rested. I think Liberty, like I said, I think we'll see Liberty North in that other semi, but Staley, definitely. Drew, real quick before Mitch gets out, throw up the graphic. These are my picks. District 1, number 8, Lindbergh, taking on District 12, or number 12, District 2 winner, Eureka. I got Eureka coming out of there. Even though I like Parkway South, I think Eureka has too much pitching. That's going to be one matchup in the quarters. There's my surprise pick. I got DeSmet coming out of 3. I've kind of just looked at that and watched, and just like they've played better. No offense to SLU. I know you got your boy. I like SLU, but I'm gonna stick with that. I'm gonna stick with it. Taking on the Vikings of Francis Howell, the number 1 team in the state out of District 4. That ought to be interesting. 2 very good coaches there. Then I got Rockbridge, the Bruins, number 4 team. All these rankings are according to Youth Baseball Midwest, folks. These are my rankings here. Taking on the Nixa Eagles, number 6 out of District 6. I love that matchup right there, Mitch. Rockbridge and Nixa. That'll be a fantastic best 2 out of all these. I think you got tremendous Lee Summit Tigers pitching against Staley in number 9 team, taking on the number 2 team out of District 7 and 8. I think you got fantastic pitching matchups. These are teams that have good pitching, deep. That's why I when you're looking at this, what's getting you through pitching and defense, these teams have guys that can swing it. They've put up runs. That's my District 6 predictions, or Class 6 predictions right there. What do you think, buddy?
Yeah, that Elite 8 or whatever you want to call it, that's going to be wild to me. That's going to be a blast. I think the DeSmet pick is out of all of the picks that you have there, it's a sleeper, but not really, because they can absolutely beat SLU. SLU's got them on the year, 2 games and none, but that was early in the year when I think Wortham was hurt. DeSmet is playing much better baseball as of late. SLU has got some good wins, but they got some losses against some top teams. Lost to Westminster, lost to Howell, Seckman, and but other than that, I think that's going to be a whale of a game to watch in that district. What is your Final Four? Did I miss that?
I haven't done the Final Four yet. We'll do that after we get through the district play. We get into the quarters. We'll make sure we see if we get what we get here before I make those picks. I'm not going there just yet.
That's fair.
Throw up the Class 5 predictions real quick. We talked about these. I want to refresh the folks. That's our Class 5. I got Farmington taking on Vianney. Good luck, Farmington. Aiden Redmond, though, is going to get a win if you're at a best of 3. I think that kid can beat anybody in the state from Farmington. I got Summit still there, taking on the Crusaders. I just think East and Warrenton are going to have to do too much against each other, and then got to go play Dominic. I think that's why Dom comes out of that. Especially if you get another 16 inning marathon,
Mm-hmm. Neither one of them want that, but that's going to be a game to watch too.
Absolutely. I agree. Jeff City coming out of District 5 there. Jordan Martin, that team's playing well. They got off to a slow start. Martin found his way, and man, that team is playing good baseball. Taking on the defending champs, Willard, coming out of District 6. Willard Tigers, they're poised again to make another run. I think they can challenge Vianney. I think that's a team that can challenge Vianney. Carl Junction coming out. I think they take care of Webb City, as we talked about, taking on, I think, the team that is the team to challenge. Those two in that coming out of that, Smithville, Willard, Jefferson City, those three teams. Oh boy, whoever gets into that final, man, I love that Willard Jeff City matchup. That'd be fantastic.
I didn't know much about Smithville. I knew about their lake that you can catch a bunch of crappie in, but I went and looked at that group, and there is a lot of people. If you just go on social media that talk about Smithville, very, I think, underrated. Maybe underappreciated on what they did on the year. And there's a lot of people that are talking about how they play the game of baseball, and it's different. And I started paying attention, so I wouldn't be shocked if Smithville ended up, facing off against Vianney there. But I think Vianney's just way too good. They're way too deep in everything that they do, pitching, closing games out, offensively, defensively. It's probably the best team in the state in any class.
There you go.
So
that's what
I do have to go though. I want to come back on the show for the Final Four.
Oh yeah.
I like that. I think it's obvious. The only changes I have in Class 6, I think Slew's there instead of DeSmet. I got to root for my boy Chambers. He's been a guy. Yeah, I got him at 14U when he needed some mental help, and we got him to a space that I'm excited for him. Somebody else has taken him since then where he's at, but I got a little piece of time into the Chambers family. So, but I do have to hop off here. I appreciate it for letting me hop on this show and talk Class 6, because that is what I know most of, is these schools in this area. So, Kevin, I cannot fill your shoes, but I hope I did a good enough job.
Mitch, thanks a lot, buddy. Appreciate it. You have a good rest of your day, and maybe we'll see you at the ballpark, huh?
Well, I got practice, of course. I got to take care of that. I am maybe, after my call, might end up over at Howell Central for a little bit. Yeah, I got $5 on me.
There you go, buddy. That's the way we roll. Hey, you have a good rest of your day. And we're going to be signing off. That's what we got for today. Mitch, we'll talk to you soon. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. Put your predictions down below. Comment. Please do. We'd love to hear what you have to say about it. Comment below. Tell us what you think about if we're crazy or not. We'd love to hear it. Everybody, appreciate it very much. Have a great day in the Lord. All you pitchers, keep throwing strikes. Oh, remember, hit the subscribe button. If you like to support us, subscribe. Hit the dinger. It's not a home run, but it is notifications. We appreciate Mitch jumping on from our Prime Sports Midwest call-in link. Everybody, we'll see you at the ballpark.